Well, after watching the show of Dash and Lily, as well as her reading the book of Dash and Lily, and several other Christmas books, I'm feeling like it is time for a peppermint candy cane coffee. So, cheers. Thanks for clicking on this video. Welcome to another book versus movie video. Welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Katrina and I make bookish content here on this channel at least twice a week, and then movie reviews or book to movie content here at the weekend. All of my social links are in the description box below, including my blog and my Goodreads, so you can keep up with my reading in between times. Before we get started, thank you very, very much for those of you that helped me get to my 1,000 subscriber milestone. I am very excited, and on Monday I have my live show celebration coming up, so make sure if you're not already subscribed, you subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified when I start going live on Monday. Today we are going to be talking about Dash and Lily's Book of Dares, which just came out on Netflix as an 8-part series on Tuesday the 10th of November. I reread this book as a buddy read with my lovely friend Hayley, and then we watched the episodes of the series together as well. Very quick story about this version of Dash and Lily's Book of Dares. I did the audiobook. This is my third time rereading the book, and I did the audiobook all times. However, I love having this copy of the book because it does actually come from Strand bookstore. I did buy it in Strand bookstore, which features in the book and the show. So today we're going to be comparing and contrasting the book versus the show. I made some notes as we were watching, and as always, I understand when I am comparing a book to a movie or a TV show that once the author signs off those rights for their book to be turned into something for the screen, that things can be completely different. But I love noticing the differences and the similarities and discussing them here for you all. All of my reviews are always spoiler free, including these book versus movie videos, and so there will be no spoilers from me here. I will say that the show on Netflix right now is a whole lot more festive than the book. The book is pretty festive. It takes place over Christmas up until New Year's, and you know, you can see we've got some snow on the cover. But the TV show is definitely more festive. So if you are looking for something that isn't another Christmas movie to watch right now to get you into kind of the festive spirit, 8 parts, they're about 23 minutes each. So it's like binge watching 8 episodes of Friends. It's wonderful, highly recommend. And that soundtrack is so festive, but in a really different way. It's very, very cool. So let's get into similarities and differences. Now I've given you my overview of what I thought of it and how festive it made me feel that I had to go and make a peppermint coffee. So the casting is very interesting. I often sit here and say, well, we've got all these actors that are in all the same adaptations of YA novels. It's all the same actors used, and this is the case for Dash. So basically, the casting of Dash and Boomer in this one, I kind of almost pictured them as I was reading the book the other way round. So Dash is also in Our Chemical Hearts, which I have a book versus movie of linked up above for you here. And the actor playing Dash is the main character in that, and so I really struggled to getting into believing that he was Dash. I think I got there by the end, but I pictured Dash looking a lot more like Boomer does in this series, and Boomer looking a lot more like Dash does, or almost a bit like how they cast Edgar Tebow. So Edgar Tebow in this one looks very different to what I expected, and I feel like in the show his character is a little bit more of a villain than his character is in the book, and I like that. And again, no spoilers as to why, but I feel like he comes off as much more of a bad guy in the show than he does in the book. But I love, love, love the casting of Lily. She is fantastic. I love the fact that she doesn't look a lot like the other girls cast as female leads in YA novel adaptations. I love that. I think they did a great job casting Lily, and I feel like I can't see Lily as anything else now, because obviously, having read Dash and Lily's Book of Dares, I am now moving on to the 12 Days of Dash and Lily, and the new Dash and Lily book that came out to coincide with when the show came out. Very, very exciting. I think it came out the week before. Mind the Gap, Dash and Lily. Are we thinking that they're in London? Are we? I don't know. I'll have a review for you very soon. But yeah, I think with the show that they've done it as a series. So series 1 is going to focus on the first book. Series 2, hopefully, will move on to the second book. We shall see. That's just my prediction. So yeah, casting wise, that's my opinions. And Edgar Tebow comes off very, very differently. I like Lily's family. I like kind of Dash's friend group, and I love the different New Yorkers that we get to meet. I think that's fantastic. I think that the show kind of like pushes the boundaries of the YA audience a little bit more than the book does. I feel like we have a little bit more language used. We have a few more sex references thrown in there. And then we have a lot more sort of diversity in there, which sounds surprising given the fact that this is a David Levithan novel. But the show has, you know, we've got couples in the background who aren't male-female couples. We have some trans characters. We have characters who just have kind of, there's the whole spectrum is covered, and I really, really like that. And I feel like we don't get that as much in this book in particular, and so the show kind of like takes it that one step further. And so I do think that, yeah, it pushes the boundaries a little bit more than the book does. The structure of the fact that it's an 8-episode show rather than a movie, the episodes are structured a little bit like the book, how in the book we jump forwards and backwards between Lily and Dash's chapters there. So we have kind of Lily episode, Dash episode, flicking back and forth episode, and some scenes they actually like fully rewind and we get to see the scene from the other character, and I really, really like the way they did that. I also really love the transition between episodes 6 and 7. Obviously I'm not going to say why, but we have a bit of a like cliffhanger resolution type of situation, and I really, really enjoyed that. So I like the way they've structured it. I was kind of worried about the fact that they were doing it as a show rather than as a movie, but then we get more value from a show. We have 8 whole episodes to binge watch. It's great. The fact that we have Strand bookstore in here is obviously wonderful. We kind of open the show in the Strand. The you know, the trailer, if you've seen the trailer, has the Strand in it as well, and it features just as heavily in the show as it does in the book, if not more so. But then they're getting kind of free publicity out of it. However, there is a point in the show where Lily goes into the Strand and she goes in the exit door rather than the entrance door. The doors are next to each other, and as you walk up to them, the right hand one is the entrance and the left hand one is the exit, because you leave the tills after you paid and you go out the exit. And I don't know why they had her going in the exit. They're literally next to each other. They could easily have had her going in the entrance. Why did they have her going in the exit? If anybody has an actual reason for this, please let me know, because it's really bothering me. Like, I've just finished watching it and it's really, really bothering me still. However, this leads me to talk about the fact that we've got some location differences between the book and the movie. Obviously, the book came out quite a while ago. The show has just come out and is set in modern times. You know, Lily has the most up-to-date iPhone as of filming. So some locations just won't be there anymore. And then we've got some locations that are specifically mentioned, like Madame Tussauds, and some of the kind of bigger known tourist spots in New York City that would have been much harder to film at. And so they've swapped those out for other locations, but I'm not mad about it. So I'm not, again, going to give specific examples because I don't want to spoil anything, but some of the locations are switched, and I really like what they've switched the locations to. It makes me very, very happy. And all of the locations were just, I really think, spot on. Like, I would watch this, you know, I'd happily have it on in the background as on mute, like just watching the different places that they're walking to and going through, and just being in Washington Square Park with them, heading off to the Strand, going and getting my cinema tickets. Speaking of movies, the movie that is featured in the book, if you know, you know, is featured in the series in a different way, but I love it. It's like a nod to the book, and there are actually lots and lots of like tiny details, a bit like that one, that are just picked up on so well in the show that, you know, obviously we wouldn't have time for them to be like a major thing from the book in the show, but they like picked up on and just like dropped in there, as if they're dropped in there for fans of the book, for people like me who have read it more than once. And I just think that that is like really, really genius as well. And it just kept, yeah, going back, I really, really like the casting of Lily. And Lily is, you know, in the book, obviously, you know, it is a Christmassy book. She's quite into Christmas. She likes her like Christmas baking and making and crafting, but they've like injected her with even more festive spirit in the show, and I am just here for it. It like couldn't have come out at a better time. And honestly, that soundtrack, I am a way to find where I can find that soundtrack to listen to. So overall, I loved my reread of the book for the third time. However, I really, really loved the show. For me, there are enough differences in it that it kind of falls into the category of like Bridget Jones' Diary, Confessions of a Shopaholic, where the movie is quite different from the book. There are enough differences between this book and the show that I just watched that it kind of falls into that category. However, in those cases and in this case, I love the book as its own thing, and I love the movie, in this case show, as its own thing. I will be rewatching this. I do highly recommend it, and especially for the fact that it's 8 episodes of 22 minutes an episode. It's something great to watch while you're wrapping Christmas presents. It's something great to dip in and out of if you're looking for something new to binge right now. And it's definitely a break from your like traditional Christmas film. I will be talking about some of Netflix's new Christmas films in a later video, probably in December, with some recommendations for you. But right now, my recommendation is that you go away and watch Dash and Lily, and then come back here and let me know in comments, do you agree with what I've said? Did you spot any other major differences? No spoilers, please. Yes, there are lots of things I could talk about if we were talking about spoilers, but we're keeping it clean here. So thank you so much for watching. I will be back with a movie review for you on Sunday, and then that live show for you on Monday. So if you're not already, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and then I will be back with more bookish content for you next week. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, let me know what you think of the show. And yes, thank you so much for watching.